Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. How is it going? How is it going in your neighborhood today? How's it going, B? I got the live stream going there. If you want to make sure we go live.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, good, good.
Good. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Things are going great for me.
All right.
Got my tea. I'm just putting my tea bag inside of my tea.
All
Going
right.
great.
Have you live for us on Instagram?
I am. I put the key out, but let me
Yeah,
go
I
ahead
did it.
and
That's what I was saying. Just
live.
make sure you go live there.
Great. It just ended the countdown on mine. It's a little bit behind on the. I
Right,
We went
right, right,
live
right.
right at the perfect time.
Well, good morning,
But good. Good.
everybody.
Welcome everybody. As
Yeah,
people start
let's
to
do
come
it.
into the comments,
Okay. All
who we
right.
got in there?
You ready to rock it?
I am. I am. Let me take this off. I normally get with my tea. But yeah, let's get it started as people start to come in. I want to make sure everyone gets in, gets settled, and is ready for today's show. So today's show, like every show, we read through Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro. If you haven't gotten the book, please do. We did get two family members of ours, Mom, Grandma Erlene and Kim, purchased their book today or yesterday.
Really?
Yep,
Oh
yep,
my.
yep. They purchased their
Yes.
book today. So I
Well,
was
now
very
that's
proud of them.
that's that's cool. Yeah,
Good, good. Let me
that's cool,
make sure we
y'all.
got
That
everything
makes
on
my
here.
heart happy.
Hmm?
That makes my heart happy. You want me to jump into it while you do your thing over there?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I wanted to get the Wi-Fi stuff going
Okay.
as you suggested, and then we can jump
Okay.
right into it.
Okay. Cool. I told Miss Brenda, I don't know if she's on this morning, but I thought about what she said yesterday about wanting to bring people, not wanting to leave people behind. That really stuck with me because y'all, people who good morning. She's on. Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. Miss Brenda says, we'll get stuck and caught up in trying to bring people or not leave people behind who's not ready to go. And
Right.
so you have to be really mindful and just in tuned and know that you cannot. It reminded me, I think I thought so much about it because of the cruise that I went on.
Mm.
Um, and I didn't want to go. Yeah, I really didn't want to go. And physically, I shouldn't have gone just based on what was going on with my body at the time. I really went against myself. And then when I think about all the things that happened when I got there, it really wasn't as enjoyable as it should have been for me. But I really thought about sometimes
Mm.
you have to know yourself so you can choose yourself,
Mm.
not in an egotistic way, but you kind of have to have a plan for your life to know to the point when people ask you to do something, you don't have to second guess it. It's a no for you. It has nothing to do with the person or the thing. It's just not it's not your vibe.
Where your no
It's
means
not
no
your
and your
vibe,
yes
so
means
it's not
yes,
your
right?
tribe. Hmm?
Where your no means no and your yes means yes. When to say
Right.
yes and when to say no.
When you say no. Right. So thank you for that, Miss Brenda. So all right, over to you, Brandon.
Awesome.
Did you have a takeaway yesterday?
Mm. For yesterday, let me make sure because there was something that came up in my day that I did want to tell you about. I'm trying to think what it was. I don't think it was. It was. I think it was something from one of the earlier days.
Okay.
Let
Okay.
me see if I can. It was. Does the dream have you? I kept thinking
Okay.
about that.
But you said that yesterday.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said that
Okay.
yesterday.
Yeah. It was
Mhm.
like I was like, okay, am I dedicated to my dreams? Have I written everything down? And there were dreams, that I've committed myself to that I haven't written down. And some things that I'm looking forward to that I also haven't written down. So it was me talking to myself. It was being introspective and saying like, okay, if I know this, if I know, does my dream have me? Have I really um, have I really submitted to that, and do I really want it, type of thing. So that's what kind of kept coming up in my situation yesterday. I taught a jujitsu class yesterday, and at the gym, I have yet to get a key. I'm supposed to be getting it today or tomorrow, and so I have to wait for others to let me in the door, right? At this gym, and so I almost left because the person with the key wasn't there, right? And and I saw one young man who came for the class. He came, and we were waiting for the guy to open the door, and he sat for about maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and he was like, "Well, okay, I'm gonna just go and I think he went somewhere else, went to get something to eat, or went to another a place to go lift weights or something instead of doing jujitsu." And I mean, as soon as he left, the guy with the key showed up.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Oh man!" And he really wanted to do the class. We just had to wait. I mean, I think it was 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes. And I thought about that, and I was like, "Man, you know, am I like that sometimes?" Not saying down on him, but just that we move on too quick to the next thing before leaving with what we came for. And so for me,
Hmm.
I was like, okay, I need to just kind of take a note of that. That when I'm here for something, that's what I'm here for, and I'm gonna do everything that I can to get that out of it before I leave. So that was one of my takeaways, and that's me. Like, does the dream have me, or am I just gonna go here, go there, go here, go there? But if the dream has me, I don't have anything else to do. This is what I had planned to do for the next 2 hours.
And how
You
long
know,
did he wait, Brandon? About,
like
did you say?
5 minutes, maybe. Like, I mean,
So maybe he has a 5 minute plan that I got to move on to the next thing. I'm just saying.
it might
But
be, it might,
that's the
but it's
lesson,
however we look at. I was saying like the
right?
lesson, and that's what I'm saying. I can't judge what happened with
Right.
him because I was like, yeah, man, for sure. Go get it, go get whatever you need. But so he could be perfectly right. I was just thinking it as it
Right.
applies to me in my situation. Like, is there a sign in it for me? Not
Right.
judging
And
him
that's
as
what
it.
I was
Yeah.
getting to. That in every situation, um, the people are all of us are getting something.
Mm-hmm.
Because he
Mm-hmm.
may get to a place and realize, man, I should have stayed, but he wouldn't have known that unless he left, got to the other
Right.
place, and said, you know what, I should have gave it a few more minutes. Now
Right.
he's learned his lesson, and
Right.
next time
Or
he might be a little bit more patient, or he's a 5 minute wait man.
yeah,
I'm not.
or he that 5 minutes he went somewhere else and met his wife that he ain't never
Yeah,
that he just met the woman of his
yeah,
dreams, or
yeah,
got an opportunity of his dreams. So it's more of our state of being
yeah,
in these situations and through our experiences that has more to affect on us than the actual situations itself. So
yeah,
like if we can manage our state of being and the way that we see things will always work in our favor. You know what I mean? So but without further ado, y'all, I want to describe the book for anybody that is new and has not been here before. Every day for the past 93 days, my mother and I have been reading and going through Daily Motivations for Success, specifically for African American success, written by Dennis Kimbro. This book is a book that was published in the 90s, but still um, has a lot of impact today for its readers. And so it's a book that was a gift to me. And then I suggested it to my mother, and we suggested like, let's do something with this. Let's maybe read a daily passage out of it every single morning for motivation, encouragement, and affirmation. And my mom was like, "Really? Let's do it." So here we are, 93 days later. Um, Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, the attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and uh, how to look inward for answers to life's challenges. So each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Alderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year, What it teaches will last you a lifetime. Will last you a lifetime. So, how many? We got more people in the comments? Are we all ready to go?
I do have a comment here. Let me see. Just give me a second. Let me switch over. Terry Danner says, "Good morning. Happy blessed Friday."
Oh yeah.
Mr. You're some
TGIF.
T who?
TGIF. Thank God it's Friday.
TGI. Oh, I thought you was saying that's who Terry was.
Oh no no no.
Or is. Okay. Well, hey Terry. Hey Terry. How do we
What
know
up,
you? And
Terry?
if we don't, we know you now. Thank you for rocking with us for daily motivations for African American success. Drop us some nuggets in the comments this morning.
Yeah, I want y'all. I
So,
want y'all to participate in the comment section. We need to get the comment section a little more live. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys think of the passages, what you think of the show. While you're watching this, think about people who might need this, and you can send them the live right now. Right, you can send it to them right now. Be like, hey, homie, hey, girl, let's check this out. If you're up and at it, I know you're getting ready to go for work. Here's some daily motivation from this mother and son duo. So y'all do that. Take a second and do that, and
hey
we'll go
Brandon,
into.
can I remind them to remember, write your goals and prepare for day 100? We're coming
Uh,
close. We're close. We're going to have some fun that day, y'all. We're going to reminisce. We're going to have a barbecue that they might call the police on us. Y'all know that kind of barbecue where you just it gets too good, right?
yep,
So,
had one
you
of
know
those
it,
last
Brandon. You
week.
just had it.
Yep, call the cops on me, man. It's cool.
Call
It
the
was it was
cops on
cool.
y'all.
Call the
Yeah.
cops. Come on, man.
But,
But it was cool though because the cops came. They joined the party. We played music.
yeah,
We got
yeah.
the play with the cop cars. I ain't never got to play with a cop car like that. So it was
My takeaway was my boy. But
oh,
where are the bad guys? Like,
yeah,
why are y'all here? Where the little 3-year-old asked, "Where are the bad guys? Why are you
yeah, my
here?"
son.
So
That was cool. That was cool. But let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into it. We got a couple people on IG. Thank y'all for rocking with us too. We're gonna get right into the passage for the 93rd installment of the End This Season podcast. Today's title is Why Don't We Ever Talk? Why don't we ever talk? And the quote of the day is from uh like the mother of black actor of acting to me, Ruby D. I actually got to meet Ruby D. At University of Tennessee. I think she passed away, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Ruby D
Um,
did.
yeah, she passed away a couple years, but I got to meet her in at University of Tennessee. It was amazing. She's a very wise and sweet woman, and reminded me of those Valdosta elderly folk that we came up with, mom. So,
Mhm.
but Ruby D says the divorce rate would be lower if instead of marrying for better or worse, people would marry for good.
I knew it. I knew it. I said, Brandon, this is y'all. The book is changing on this page. It's a different day.
That
Brandon,
is
I knew
funny.
you were gonna respond that way. I knew
That
it.
is so funny.
It's gonna get greater.
Is it? Look at you. I see it on your face. Oh
Yes.
man. So the divorce rate would be lower if instead of marrying for better or worse, people would marry for good. And the passage goes, experts claim that one of the most serious problems facing a marriage and one of the prime causes for its failure is the inability or reluctance on the part of husbands and wives to communicate.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Oh,
My
for
language.
example, I know, right? For example, a sign on the wall of a marriage counselor reads, when a woman marries, she gives up the attention of several men for the inattention of one.
Mm.
Oh, I know some
Mm.
ladies out there like snapping their
Mm.
fingers right now saying,
Y'all better tell your friend to jump on real quick.
hold
Call your
on.
girlfriend.
Yeah, y'all
You
take
might
a
want to
second.
start over. Give them
I'm,
time to call their
yeah, y'all.
girlfriends.
I think y'all homegirls need to hear this, or
Y'all,
maybe
it's
they
good.
don't.
I read it
Huh?
last night. It's good.
It's good. Uh-oh.
Call your girlfriends. Tell them to get on and tell them to make their husbands get on or
brother,
their
brother,
man.
brothers, make sure your wives ain't on here, man. Let me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if Brandon drops y'all, I kicked him off. Right. So if he drops today, I kicked him off. Right. I need to call my daughter in love and say, hey, get on here and do this
Uh-uh.
show with your mama.
Ooh-wee.
Look at
Lord
it.
have mercy. All right, you ready?
Yes. You
Sip
gotta
my tea for
drink
this
some
one.
more tea.
Let me let these ladies
You
get in
might
here
want to
now.
put some in that
No,
tea.
I need some more men in the comment section. That's what I realized. We got too many ladies around here. We need a rooster.
I want to tell my brother, get my sister in love on the phone. Get on the show. Get her on here.
Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna start over.
Yeah, start over.
All right, I'm gonna start over.
For the men in the back.
But for the sisters that on the
Don't
side.
let me kick you off. Watch your mouth. Don't let me drop you.
No, you know what I'm about to say? I said not for the men in the back, for the sisters on the side. Y'all
All
oh
right,
man.
come on, B. Come on.
All right. So the
Okay.
divorce rate would be lower, Ruby D says, if instead of marrying for better or worse, people would marry for good. That's from Ruby D. Experts claim that one of the most serious problems facing marriage, and one of the prime causes for its failure, is the
Mhm.
inability or reluctance on the part of husbands and wives
Hmm.
to communicate. For example, a sign on the wall of a marriage counselor reads, when a woman marries, she gives up the attention of several men for the inattention of one. Or, as comedian Eddie Murphy, come on, Eddie, says in one of his routines, what frightens most men about marriage is not another mouth to feed, but another one to listen to. Mm, I'm going to just stay quiet on that. It seems the longer two people live together, the more they tend to drift apart and take each other for granted. Mm. Over the years, married life has the tendency to resemble the experience of driving a new car. At first, it's exciting, but with time, well, it's just a car. People are not machines, and this kind of attitude toward a wife or a husband spells doom for the marriage. Um, a couple with such an attitude might put on the appearance of a happy marriage, but it is only a facade. If there is anyone on earth you can talk to, it should be the person with whom you have agreed to spend your remaining days. Try this recipe guaranteed to cook up a happy marriage. 1 cup of speaking, 2 cups of concentration, 5 spoons of understanding, 2 quarts of communication, then 1 cup of conversing, 3 cups of listening, 2 spoons of sharing, and 4 quarts of caring. Take speaking and concentration and mix it thoroughly with caring. Blend it with communication, sharing, and understanding. Add listening. Sprinkle abundantly with laughter. Bake in sunshine. Serve generous helpings daily. And the affirmation for today that we read 3 times, one for the men, one for the ladies, and one for their kids and their grandbabies. I don't know what we're gonna say. I'm like, what you gonna say? I will not take
Yeah.
my mate for granted.
Mm.
I will not take my mate for granted. All right, last time,
Mm.
everybody. I will not take my mate for granted. All right, all the single folks, I don't y'all can't talk on this one. No, it's okay. What do you think about that one? For the married couples, for the
So,
relationships, for the situationships, what you got for us?
so you remember a few days ago how we talked briefly about how people speak and talk to the people behind the walls, the people they
Yes.
live with, right? How
Yes.
we don't say the words please, thank you, will you? We don't ask the questions, right? Some of us, not all of us, but we'll go outside. Let's say, for example, we wake up, right, with with our spouse, significant other. Maybe not even say good morning. How you feel? Everything's okay? But you go outside, your neighbor is getting in the car. You speak. You go to work. You speak to the people there. So I do believe that many marriages come to this, many relationships. And in my coaching of people, married couples or dating, a lot of it comes about the time. Like we don't do anything
Mm-hmm.
anymore. We don't do anything
Mm-hmm.
together. We don't talk, right? And I'll say this to both of them because most times it's like, well, life has changed. We got the kids, da da da. We're doing this, we're doing that, right? But you were doing this and that when you met them, but you showed up. And showing up has much more to do with you at that time than it does the other person. And not showing up after you get to know the person, sometimes marrying them, having kids, choosing to do life with them, not showing up at that time also has to do with you and not the other person. And when we show up at the beginning of the relationship, and let me say this before I forget, when I'm coaching the couples, I'll say this. Let's say you guys break up today and you meet, and most time it's the guys, y'all. I'm not picking on y'all. It's the guys that I have to say this to. You meet another woman. You gonna have all the time in the world. You gonna take them dirty ass jeans off. You gonna dress up. You gonna smell good. You gonna take her out, and you gonna
Why,
be
why,
there,
why the jeans? Why the
right?
jeans got to be dirty though? Why the jeans got to be dirty?
Because y'all dress funky after we get after 2-3 years in a relationship. Jakar is gone, Lagerfield is gone. We don't smell anything anymore, and y'all gonna. I know y'all gonna get me because y'all gonna talk about us too. I know, but
Exactly. That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
talking
I'm
about
like,
y'all.
you already know. You
But
already know.
so I'm gonna let you talk about us. I'm talking about
I'm
y'all,
not.
right? Let the
No, no,
woman talk
no.
about the men and the men talk about the women. And all fairness, I'm joking, but y'all women do it too. But as it relates to the time, because we're wired different, y'all don't need much. Women need to feel like their man thinks they're the most beautiful girl in the world.
Mm,
They need that little pat on the little toot toot every now and then when you walk in. They
mm.
need it, like it says here.
Pat on the tutu.
The huh?
No, your pat on the tutu got me.
Oh yes. So women give up. Women marry. She gives up the attention of several men for the inattention of one.
Mm,
So if men, for your woman, if you just show her a little bit of attention, that's if she's the right woman and a good woman and she is down for you. If you
right.
show her a little bit, if you give her a little bit, she'll give you 200%. She will give it. Now, not all women, the right woman, a woman will. So why don't we ever talk anymore? What is communication before I pass it? Because Brandon, I could take this one and do it by myself, right? Communication is just the exchange of information, right? And we do that. But effective communication is different. It is different. If anything, if it's not effective, why are we doing it? Because when it becomes effective, it's the process. It's still the exchanging of the information, right?
Yeah.
But it is our taking the responsibility to make sure that it is received and understood with clarity and purpose. Brandon, I don't
Say that part
know if
again.
you remember
Say that part
the
again.
that is so communication is just exchange of information, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you add the effective part to effective communication, it is each person taking the responsibility to make sure that their communication is received and understood with clarity and purpose. And the only way that you can do that is that you understand yourself with clarity and purpose. And if you do, then you understand that this relationship gets greater later. Brandon, I don't know if you remember, I used to tell you when you meet them little girls, take them to the park with a sandwich. You give the one that you're gonna keep the steak. She goes to the steakhouse. Don't don't
Right.
don't wine and dine all these young girls because some of them just out to be wined and dined.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't mother material. They ain't wife material. They ain't even girl material. So don't spend your. You remember I used to tell you that,
Mm-hmm. I remember. I remember.
right? So I'm down for both ways, you guys. Also, and I'm gonna turn it over to you because I'll get lost in this one.
No,
Do you
this is this
remember
is
when
this
we
is
did
your this
the?
is your expertise. So I'm here to listen.
Do you remember when we did the lunch and learn at the police for the no, it was the city of
City of
Memphis.
Memphis. For
It
City
was
of
the city
Memphis.
of Memphis. So we
Okay.
did a lunch and learn session for the city of Memphis, talking about communication, and Brandon came down and helped me. So I asked the question: is it your responsibility that someone understands what you say? Everybody said yes, but one woman. Do you remember that lady?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I asked her why. And she said, for example, I just got married. It's not my responsibility for him to understand what I say. And so my question was to her, do you want to stay married? That's it. Do you want to stay married? Because yes, it is your responsibility, especially for the people that you choose to do life with. It is your responsibility to deliver that communication in such a way that it's not only just received, because y'all, we're going to receive it. It's like you said with the words. You can say thank you. You can say, well, thank you.
Right.
Same word, different meaning, right?
Ooh. Right. Now we need to
Same
talk about
word.
that. The attitude. Yeah.
Right, right. Well, thank you too. You know,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, yeah. We could say things the way we say them. So it is your responsibility to have control over your feelings and emotions in order to successfully communicate effectively so that the people you love don't misunderstand you or what you say. And that means you have to put the ego aside. And sometimes you have to say, I'm sorry. I think I hurt your feelings. I didn't mean it the way that you received it. Let me say it again. You have to ask, how was your day, baby? Is
Mm.
there anything I can do? I'm going in the kitchen. Do you need anything? Right? You have to take responsibility. I'm glad that we finally got to one that talks about relationships. And this, although it's talking about a man and a woman, in that kind of romantic relationship, y'all, this is nothing new. Your relationships should get greater later. If I meet you and you can say, well, what do you want to eat? Oh, whatever you want, right? 3 months down, what you want to eat, baby? Oh, you want chicken? I'll eat chicken. That's fine. A year later, I don't want no chicken. I'm tired of eating chicken. And it's not, and it's just even the way that you say that. Well, baby, we had chicken a few days ago. Is it something else we can agree to eat on?
Mm-hmm.
To eat with? Y'all, it's just your words. Word perfect. Y'all remember that one? The
Yep.
day
2 days
on Word
ago.
Perfect, May 1st. Show people how much you care about them, about yourself, about the relationship you have with them. Now, that don't mean you don't address issues, because there's always going to be something that comes up when you're doing life with people. Always. Remember the other day when I talked about there's someone, I was behind this car, little SUV, and I'm like, dang, won't you go on? Won't you move? And this was last week, y'all. So I'm telling y'all, just because I'm on this side, it doesn't mean I don't have to apply these things that we talk about to life and call myself into check. But if it's one thing I've learned, is that my words, to the best of my ability, and I fail sometimes then, but even when I do, I've come to the point where I can go back and say, you know what? I didn't say that right. I didn't say it right because I was all in my feelings. But the story I was going to share with you, for those of you who were not here, I was behind the SUV and I'm like, go, please get out of my way. Well, there was a car in front of that SUV. And I just thought, you know what? He's probably saying the same thing about the car in front of him
Mm.
that I can't see. And the person behind me is talking about me because they can't see the car in front of me.
Right.
So there's a person behind me talking about me. I'm behind the person in front of me talking about them. And that person in front of me, is behind somebody talking about them. So you get this triggering effect. And our words have that, especially in our relationship. And after a while, your words, your words are not perfect anymore. You don't want the chicken anymore. You don't want to go to see my mom anymore. You don't want to go to this event with me. You don't even want to go to the store with me, because, y'all, we are more caught up in that shiny new object syndrome. And there is such a thing, the shiny new object syndrome. Because what does that do? It gives us a chance to show up as the representative and be represented, to receive some kind of validation. And I always say this, if you can show up, if the representative can show up in the beginning, then he or she, be fair here, the representative, man, male or female, can always be the representative showing up. So represent who you are, your life, represent what you want from your relationship. And as Terry says, yes, put God in your marriage. And I'm going to say this, and I get where you're saying, Terry. There are a lot of couples going to church together every Sunday, thinking, no. I'm not going to say thinking. They go to church every Sunday representing, right? They dress
Mm-hmm.
up, they have the same colors on. I've seen them. They come in for coaching, right? And then they go home and both of them, or maybe one of them, why don't we ever talk? So they think you can think you have God in your life, but the fruits of the spirit will tell, how much God you have in your life, right? So over to you, Brandon. I'm sorry I took most all the time.
No, trust me. One thing that you learn when you're a husband about communication is that sometimes silence is good. Sometimes you just let her talk. Because sometimes it ain't about what you talk about, or it's not even always what your partner is saying. Sometimes it's, are you listening? Are you present to listen? Right? And I think with the hustle and bustle of life, people are getting caught up in things that matter temporarily, one after another, one after another, one after another. So the things that matter forever get lost in the wayside. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Um, so like we're losing each other in the mix. It's like, okay, we need to talk about this. And so imagine if I liken it to we have books to we have, every book is a conversation that needs to be had. We're at the work, got kids, got family, got friends, whatever. We need to talk about this. I put this book on the table. And she says, well, we need to talk about this. I might not even say it. And before you know, we're putting another book on the table, another book, another conversation. And before long, you can't see each other because the books are blocking you. All the things that you need to speak on, all the things that you need to communicate, all the problems and issues, small, big, whether it's you don't put the toilet seat down to where are we going in life, or are we praying together, different, are we fulfilled, and if we're not, what can we do to make it better, are we dating still, all these conversations add up, and when we're not speaking to them or not addressing them as they come, we get emotionally constipated, and emotional constipation comes out as diarrhea of the mouth. And what I mean by that is we're saying things without it being, without properly digesting it, without properly thinking about it ourselves, informing the way that we're going to speak to without being intentional in the way that we speak. That's what I know from my own experience. When you speak in an impatient way, it's felt. You can't have major. Me and my wife did this thing where we stopped. This was years ago. We stopped having um like very serious conversations before I would go to work. Back when I had like a 9 to 5, and then before and right before sleep, like we wouldn't have tough conversations right in the morning or right at night, right? Because we wanted to wake up and have the start of our day, no matter what, that we could, control and not have that on our brain the whole day. And then at night, we wanted to sleep well. We didn't want to go to bed not feeling like one person had been hurt or not. So for me, one of the things that helped us out a lot was the life languages assessment. And I think this is an opportunity for people who struggle with effective communication, whether it be at home, whether it be at work, whether it be, in your organizations, and things that you're trying to do with your larger family. or even with yourself, just to understand who you are. I highly encourage and recommend the life languages assessment that I know you guys can get from my mother. Um, so you should probably tell them a little bit about that at the end.
Okay.
But y'all, for real, for real, for real, for real.
Brandon, do you
When
remember the time you came over and got my manual in hopes of trying to understand Sella, your wife, better? Do you remember? You remember, and
I
you
believe
kept
so,
it. I
yeah,
had to actually
yeah, yeah,
come
yeah,
back and get it, and
yeah.
so I really admired you for that, because we can call it quits, you guys, so soon. But yeah, I remember him coming over saying, because I want to understand her. So
Right, and what it is, just to give you guys an idea. So you find out the communication needs of your partner if you do that communication assessment, and this assessment is for individuals and it's also for groups even. So if you have a you know a working group at work, right, then you can actually do a communication assessment of the individuals in that group, and also how those individuals might mix mesh, what opportunities they have for arguments even, or problems that might arise between two different personalities and communication types. And so one of the things I found out was my wife needs two things when I'm with her. She needs both personal space and individual attention, or uh, uh,
undivided.
undivided attention. So
Hmm.
personal space and undivided attention. Those seem like two things that are completely different, antithetical to each other. And if you don't know this as her partner, it can throw you off. You're like, what you mean? Like, you need like that. It sounds like it's juxtaposed. Like, okay, wait, you need personal space, but you need my individual attention. But all attention isn't given in the same way. Like some people want your attention physically to be there. Some people
Hmm.
want to talk more and want to, have relatability on things. And then the people that want you physically there, they might just want you there. They might not want you
In their
in their
face.
face and talking all the time and asking what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So getting to know how your partner or the person that you want to build a relationship with, even whether you already have a relationship or you want to start a relationship, um, is knowing how they filter the information that's coming to them. What are the questions that they're asking? So for me, my communication style is the influencer communication style. So my filter is, are we communicating, right? Like that's what my filter is like. Are we communicating? For my wife, for example, like she has a different need than me. Her need is to know, right? As a contemplator, mom, you're very similar. Your need is to know. And if I
Yeah,
go
we
back
have
to
the
my,
very first language. Your Sella, I think you remember that though.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, we are the same. We are contemplators, the very same first language. So we are much alike. So,
And in
but
knowing
also different.
contemplators, there's the kind of the extroverted contemplators and there's the introverted contemplators. And in either case, me, when I address a situation or a challenge or whatever, I'm ready to get right to it. Like, okay, let's talk about it, let's fix it today, right? Whereas with a contemplator, you might, you know, discuss something with them and you think you like I remember thinking like, okay, we've talked about this, right? We've
And she nodded.
Yeah, she nodded. She nodded. She was like, yeah, she looked, I think she was agreeing. We came to terms. No, 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 no. But I came to terms, right? She needed 3 days to think about it. You feel me? And then come back. So I'll be like, yeah, I thought we talked about this. It's like, no, I wasn't done thinking about it. You weren't done thinking about it. that was 2 days ago. I'm already I'm already on a trajectory thinking we got consensus. You know what I mean? And in those instances, you have to figure out, you know, whose wheelhouse is this. I noticed in a couple that I did, I built onto their fence in their at their home, and they're both calling me and texting me with different expectations about the fence that's going in their home, on their home, right? So one person is texting me, hey, can we do it this way? I want to put this on. And the other person's texting me the other stuff and calling me the other stuff. And I'm like, we got to get on the same page. Whose wheelhouse is this? Who is making the decisions here, right? And they ended up getting in an argument amongst each other, you know. And so one morning I get a text from the wife saying, we just ain't gonna get no, we just ain't gonna get no fence. We're having issues over it. And they were like full-fledged arguing because one had told me one thing and the other had told me another. And I was like, y'all work that out. And they thought that they were on the same page and they weren't. So I'm noticing just how much communication is really at the heart of so many issues. And how many things do we really argue about, right? Like even with our friends, like it's usually the smallest things that make the biggest arguments. Is that right? Or it seems that way. But really what it is, it wasn't that small thing. That was just the camel that broke, or that was just the needle that or the straw that broke the camel's back. What it is people are not communicating effectively, like almost indefinitely, until it builds up to a fever pitch. And now whatever it is annoys them, whatever it is irritates them, whatever it is shows their distress signals, which is another part of the language assessment. You're able to see and find out what is the distress signal of this person or of myself. When I start to accuse and I start to justify and I start to withdraw or whatever, are these the signs of my distress? And in the case of your partner, once you learn and know their distress signals and signs, you can see them as they arise and then change your communication in a way that supports them leaving that distressed state. So what me and my wife do before we go too long is if I'm upset, she's calm. She makes a decision to be calm. When she's upset, I make a decision to be calm. And it's something that I've transposed to other relationships in other environments where and then I'm sure to let her know that I care, right?
Mm.
I kid you not, that that gift from Dr. Fazaga, Yasser Fazaga, really helped me. Whereas people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So sometimes if you see somebody in a distress, sometimes just saying, "Are you okay?" I mean, y'all can just really be like in a back and forth, right? And the person that stops and says, "Wait a minute, are you okay?" That
Mm.
changes the tone of the entire conversation, because now the concern isn't, no, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. It's, wait a minute. It doesn't matter who's right. Are you okay? Because if you're not okay, it doesn't matter. If who's right or wrong, we're both, it's going to be a wrong situation. So saying, are you okay? Or like, hey, I care about you, right? With all this that we're talking about, let's just take a second and say, let you know that I care about you. And honestly, for a woman, in my experience, that makes all the difference.
Mhm.
That makes all the difference. It's not because, man, brothers, we know, like, we can get on our horse of, I'm the man and I do, I get that. And you're right, brother, you are the man. There's certain things that are afforded to you that women just can't do. And the things that are afforded to women that we just can't do. And so it is in that complementary nature where we find strength, right? It's not to pit us against each other. And I think sometimes we have issues with one another based on the other trying to fill the space of the other, of the man trying to fill the space of the woman, and then the woman trying to fill the space of the man, which we have predispositions to already be. So that's one of those are the things I think I wanted to give, is just take a second to mention that you care and watch how it changes your communication and your relationship, and watch how it pauses the momentum of the animosity. Watch how it cools the flames of the arguments when people, for they realize, or you've expressed being calm, that you care. And I'll say the last thing is, Know that your feelings are yours. You tell someone, you made me feel this way. I am a huge advocate of saying, no, they were the stimulus, but you feel this way. Whether you chose that, whether you're used to it, but you responded and had the reaction in this way. And so you have something to do with that. You have not something to do as far as making it happen in that sense, but you have something to do with that emotion. Right. And I think in many cases, we take the responsibility off of ourselves when we have an emotion and we place it on the person that inspired us to have that emotion. Right. And so we never deal with it. We never deal with it. And that becomes the book on the table that we need to talk about. Because now I'm not reading. I'm just saying, hey, here's the this is between us now. And before you know it, you'll build and build so much stuff between you where you won't even be able to see the other person. So go and have those conversations. Go and pay attention to your partner. Sometimes we're so interested in communicating what we want to communicate that we forget to listen. And like I
Mm-hmm.
tell my children, you have two ears and one mouth for a reason. That means you should listen twice as much as you talk. Especially if you're a brother. Listen, guys. Listen. That's all I gotta say. When I say listen, guys, listen. That's it. I promise you that's it. Because look, at the end of the day, you could be 100% right, but she just want to be heard, and vice versa. And also, there's a part of men where their ego needs to be the same way the woman needs to be told that she's beautiful. Sometimes the man needs his ego stroked, and you just gonna have to do it straight up. Sometimes it's he come home from work and he tired, baby. I appreciate you working so hard. You have no idea what that would do for a man, or just for a second of the day, babe. I see everything you're doing. I know it ain't easy, but you wear it well. Speak to his resilience, because if you don't give it to him, you better believe somebody else will, or he'll get it from his homies, or he'll get it from the bar, or he'll get it from some type of escape. But where he needs to get it and where he's looking for it, normally, first place is close proximity. So we need to address what are the needs of a man and a woman, right? And I heard something. I think this is a little. This could be taken in the wrong way, but I think for the brothers, in the way that we rationale, it would help us. So men and women think differently. That's just how it is, right? I remember mom used to tell me women listen with their heart. You remember that? You remember telling me
Yes.
that in high school?
Yeah, yeah, and I use if I may add, I was telling him, say for instance, you're going out of a business or a restaurant, whatever, and a woman's coming in. We are so wired in the way of relationships and needing love and wanting the attention, right? And
Mm-hmm.
most times it's of just that one man that we choose. And so what I said to Brandon, you can say, "Hello, how are you?" and hold the door open for the
Yeah,
woman. Some women will walk on through that door, and in their head they will create a whole life story
a
about
whole
you,
narrative.
right? They heard it differently, right? So I was telling Brandon, women listen with their heart, so be careful what you say. And I'm gonna also say to men, don't play with women don't play with men either. But I'm saying this, and Brandon, I don't know if you remember speaking for me at the University of Memphis when we had the
With
what was the name
Bridges,
of it? No, no,
Gandhi
no, no. It
King
was University
Conference.
of Memphis, and you talked about the woman. If you want to kill a nation, kill the.
Oh
Remember that?
yes, yeah.
So
If you wanna, we want me to say that quote? I think I remember it.
yeah, you said a lot about women that
It
was
was
very endured.
no, that was at a
I know.
church in Jackson.
No, you said it here
You sure?
with it was Trent there. It was
Oh,
Anthony Collins, Aaron Jordan. All of us
okay.
were there at the
Yeah, it was.
University of
Yeah,
Memphis. Remember
okay.
that?
I think so. I
So
think
I
so.
have it recorded. I have it. I have to send it to you. But you talked about like the heart of a woman, and if you want to kill a nation, kill the spirit of a woman,
Yeah, I said
right?
if you kill a man,
Ki-
you kill a man.
right.
But if you kill a woman, you kill a nation.
Okay,
If
there
you
it
if
is.
you build a man, you build a man. But if you build a woman, you build a nation.
Right. And so that's so in saying that, be careful. And I know we are a lot. Women are extra. We are a lot. We are a lot. We are a lot. But if you pour into that lot, man, you will get so much more. And that is one of the things that I think would help this world. If women, if you would just accept your anointed place and space, stop trying to be like these men because we can't.
Thank you. Thank you.
We
Thank you.
cannot. We some of us are too emotional to be sitting where we are in these positions, right? Now I'm just gonna keep it real. Some of us need to be at the house taking care of those babies that you wanted to have and now give over to somebody else to take care of from 9 to 5, while most of your pay goes to that person to take care of them. You see how twisted the world has us? Somebody was always at home to keep these babies back in the day. Nobody needed babysitters, right? Nobody
Right.
needed them. So we're getting off there, but there's a few things I do want to throw in here, Brandon. Um, so you spoke about Sella, and you thought you guys were in agreement because she nodded. Y'all had the conversation, and you went on and did what you did because you thought that nod was okay.
Yeah.
So Brandon has to now take on the responsibility of learning. Right? Okay, I need to ask. So are we good? Are we good? Can I move on? But also, and this is going back to the life language assessment, it teaches you about your non-productive character qualities and your productive ones, right? So Sella, in the reverse, his wife has to remember, okay, I can't just nod. I have to remember to say, okay, baby, I'm going to think about that and let's talk about that in a few days.
Right.
That's shared
And now I check
communication
in.
responsibility.
Right. And
So
now
that,
I check back like, hey,
right,
did you think
right,
about this?
right,
Any other thoughts on what we talked about a couple days ago? You know what I mean? Something like that.
right.
And then
So that's,
I'll leave the room. I'll leave the room, kind of walk around a little bit, and then I come back, and then I'm like, yeah. And then she already know, yeah. So now she think, so even in that situation, I'm like, have you thought about that? And then I'll go do something for a second, and then she'll think about it again, and then I come back, and then she's ready to go.
and
So
that's validating her language that is speaking. Imagine you married someone that only spoke Spanish and you only speak English. What are you guys going to have to do? Y'all have to learn each other's language in order to communicate, right? So that's what the life language does. It opens your level of effective communication because it opens you up and allows you to see yourself. Also, this reminds me 7:53. This reminds me of a guy that I met, and he said these words to me. He said,
I already
"If
know.
I die, I want to make sure that I leave my wife enough or well off enough to where if she gets another man, it's because she wants one, not because she needs one to help her financially."
Mm,
Did y'all hear that? This man is thinking about his wife even after death and not in a selfish way. He's saying, yeah, she wants another one. Oh, by all means, but I don't want her to have to put up with a joker because she needs help with these bills. That's love, y'all. That's love to me. You're thinking about me even after you're gone. And then there was a man that, true story, he had sent his wife a dozen roses every month. But he made plans for her to get those roses every month thereafter if he passed away. Do y'all see that? So can you sit yourself down enough and not have to ask this question, why don't we ever talk? Let's talk more. Let's talk more. Let's have those conversations. And I'll end with this. It should always get greater later. The more you fall in love with me, the greater the relationship should get. And for my women, I played around with this, but for the women, y'all have heard this, and no disrespect to people who collect the trash, but it is said that a woman can make the trash collector feel like the president of the United States, and a woman can make the president of the United States feel like a trash collector. It is in our words. So, word perfect today, not just with your spouse, but it starts in your home. The I love you, you're welcome, thank you, please, do you mind, may I, would
Yeah.
you like me to get this for you? Think about how many times you say that at work. Oh, I can help you. Sure. Yes. No problem. You represent at work every day or out there in them streets. Come
Mm.
home and have the conversations. So I'm going to put I'm done, Brandon. I'm going to
Okay.
put, let's see, if anybody would like to take the assessment, there
Yeah,
you
y'all
go.
take the assessment. Listen,
If I have a husband and a
y'all
wife
need it.
that takes it, I'll do the coaching. I'll do 1 hour of coaching. It typically goes about 4 to 8 hours of coaching with couples, sometimes more depending on where they are. If I have a husband and wife that takes the assessment, I will do 1 hour of free coaching to unpack the assessment.
And it's
And
like
that's together.
20 plus
Uh,
pages long each assessment,
right,
each
right. So,
individual. So yeah, yeah, it's I mean, I don't even know if you guys you need it.
Brandon, Miss
Hmm?
Brenda was at that event. She just posted
Oh
it, the one that
wow.
you talked about. I forgot about that. You were. She says, I remember that one and still have some notes from that event.
Oh
Miss Brenda.
wow.
Yes. Yes.
Brenda. Look at me, you got me over here blushing. That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's the one that you spoke
That's
those words about women.
wow. Yeah, and elder told me this, and it's a little controversial in a sense, but not really. Because I think it's good advice for men. Men, we're A plus B equals C, right? A lot of times, cut and dry. And I think men forget that we are the ones that really think like that. And sometimes we expect women to think in that same way. But women think much more qualitative, right? I think women think in a more dynamic sense. They think about sentiments, intentions, intuitions, things like that. All of this is being incorporated, things that are unseen, things that you can't touch, the intangibles and unheard. Like they're thinking about these things and considering those things um, in their rationale. So just because men are logical doesn't mean that women are irrational.
Mm-hmm.
Women are rationalizing. So we can't sit there and just off put and say, "Oh no, that's she's not rational." No, there's a rationale to what she's saying, doing, even how she's feeling. But in our case, being straight line, we kind of brush women's rationales off to the side sometimes, or at least I see it like, oh, it's just a woman. But think about this: the nature of a woman is that way for a purpose. And Elder told me that about being calm when his significant other uh, would get hyped up. He said, "Son, women are made from your rib. God made women from Adam's rib, and if you try to bend a rib straight, she'll break.
Mm-hmm.
So a rib is curved like this. All your ribs. If you get that rib and you try to straighten it out, if you try to do that rib like this, you're gonna break it. It ain't gonna be as flexible as this. You're gonna break it. And then you've broken your rib, and your rib is close to your heart. So your rib protects your heart. The whole reason for your rib cage, and I think that's metaphorical as well, that Eve was made from Adam's rib. Ribs protect your heart. They protect your organs, right? And likewise, the wife protects the home and the legacy of the man when he's away. Not protect as in physical, but she keeps it. She protects it in a spiritual sense, in an emotional sense. She provides that place of peace for the man. I promise you, if you can make the home a place of peace for a man, why would he have to leave? You worried about your man staying out on man? A lot of times it is him, but in some cases, what is he coming home to? Right? And men, that doesn't mean that all the responsibility of having a peaceful home is on her, because it's not. It takes two. It really does take two. But don't try to bend ribs straight, because they will break. That is something that, like, when I see something that I don't understand, I'm like, okay, I don't understand how you got to this point, or how you made the inference from this to this. I'm looking for logic lines, whereas there's a completely different rationale. And sometimes I have to submit to the creation of a man and the creation of a woman and say, you know what? There's something to it. I don't understand it, but let's talk it through. Let's work it through, and let me give some concessions and you give some compromises, and see if we can land on a place that we're both comfortable with. Because yeah, I might wear the quote unquote or the proverbial pants, maybe, in the relationship, and she'll say that, like, no, you're the leader of this household, right? Um, but the head doesn't do anything without the neck. Have you ever had a crook in your neck? Your head don't even look straight. You're like this, You can't even do nothing. Like, what you look like walking around like this trying to tell somebody what to do. If your neck cramps up on you, your whole life is different. If I'm upset, that's what I tell people. If I'm upset, I'm upset. My kids ain't upset. My family ain't upset. Everything in the house is still working good and all that other stuff. But let me tell you, if my wife's upset, if the woman of the house is upset, the food don't taste right. The house ain't up. The kids tripping. Everything goes wrong. So I'm telling you, keep the centerpiece of your home intact, and don't try to bend ribs straight, because they will break. I promise you guys. So that's something that I gotta leave you guys with.
Okay, I got to
Um,
leave him with one thing, two questions that came from what you just said. For the men, what are you leaving home? When you leave, what is it that you're leaving home for that woman to work with, right? And for the women, what do you have there when your man is coming home? What is it that he's coming home to? So, men, what are you leaving behind when you go out to do your thing, right?
mhm.
And women, when they come home, what are they coming home to? Let's ask those questions of ourselves. And more than anything, you guys remember that communication starts with you, has all to do with you. And that effective communication means that you're taking the responsibility to make sure that you are, without feelings and emotions, communicating so that it is received properly and understood. So that's what I meant by Brandon has to make sure, okay, Sella, did I understand? We're okay with this? I can go. But Sella also has to take the responsibility of sometimes just remembering, okay, I need to make sure that he realizes and knows that I'm still going to think on this, right? So that we don't, as Brandon said, those books, we don't pile up the things that are happening. And another thing, Brandon, I promise this is it. When you talked about the contemplating, I am, for me, this way, and imagine how this would look to a guy. You might call and say, hey, I want to come over, football games on, whatever, whatever. Okay, cool. You may come and you can sit in the living room and watch your football. I may even bring you a beer, a Coke, whatever it is you drink. But I might go on to the back and read my book.
Mhm.
But I'm so happy and thrilled that you're here and in the next room. I'm that girl. Like, you don't have to be right here. Undivided attention,
And in
right?
and
And
personal
space,
space.
in personal space. I love my personal space. And I love the fact that you love me taking that personal space, me in there reading. Come in and say, how's the book? What's going on? And go back and watch your game or do whatever.
Yeah.
But that's it. But you have to
And,
know that, because otherwise you'd be offended by me saying, yeah, come chill. And I'm reading my book.
and
But
you know what's
I'm
beautiful?
glad you're here.
You know what's interesting, Mom?
What's that?
Is that, and it's funny that I married someone that has the same communication style as my mother. Maybe different personalities, but the same communication, right? And I'm so comfortable with giving that personal space and the individual attention. You know what I mean? Like that, I'm almost primed to do it because I was raised with you, right? Like
Mm.
I like my own time in the space where I'll be drawing for hours, or working on my music for hours, or reading, or just doing something in that same space. And every now and then, you'll come or I'll come to check on you, the
Mhm.
same reason that the note came under the door as a child,
Mhm.
it was just for me coming to check on you,
Right.
so
Is
so
you
it
okay? Yes.
yeah. Are you okay? That's
Are
it.
you okay? That's all we would peep in the room. You okay? You need anything?
Hmm.
Or just, I'm reading. Bring me a glass of water, just like you're sitting watching the game. Be like, baby, you all right? You need another beer, another whatever? You good? As I'm passing through, maybe to go to the restroom, to get me something. You just have to learn to understand the person that you choose to do life with. But you cannot do that unless you first understand yourself.
Right,
There we
right,
go.
right. I had a friend between my wife and I. Her name, well, I ain't gonna call it, we'll call her Demi. Demi was like,
Demi,
yeah.
yes.
Then we had Demi over for dinner, maybe a year or 2 years ago, maybe. And we were all sitting there eating at the table and talking. And Demi was like, I'm sick of y'all. And we was like, what you talking about, Demi? She was like, y'all talk so nice to each other. Y'all talk so polite to each other, you know? And then she was like, well, I guess I'm just used to, different. Like she was raised, where there was some, people didn't talk that way. And that stuck with me. That she was like, y'all talk so nice to each other. Y'all been together for 8, 9, at that time it was 8 years. Um, and y'all talk to each other like y'all just met. Please and thank yous and say I love you all the time. Things like that. But that's the kind of household I was raised in. Mom, how many times did we say I love you in a
We
day?
still do. We
Yeah.
rarely end the phone a conversation. We say good morning, all of that. And I love the fact, and Brandon, you're gonna have to be quiet if you want me to be quiet. We
Okay.
got to
Yeah.
get out of here. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love the fact that you guys are teaching the grandbabies to say the same. Like Stella will consistently remind them when they want something, please, you got to say please, baby. You can't just come up and, she doesn't go all into that detail, but she says, what else do you say? And they'll say, please, mom, can I have? So just teaching. And that's something that we as a
Etiquette.
child, man, that we, I just remember always you just had respect for people,
Right.
respect. So why don't you have that same respect and more for the person that you choose to do life with, and or your father, the father of your children, the mother of your children. So there is work to do. So truth be told, it's not them, Brandon. It's, and we got to end on this. It's you,
You.
Brandon. You see my
All right,
you see
so.
my bracelets.
Oh no, I didn't see him. Oh, you got him in Arabic?
They might be yours, but your children gave them to me.
Let me see. They're in Arabic.
Yeah, no. Zali and Tupac gave them to me, and they said, no, you got to take them. So I'm gonna bring them back,
Oh,
but
that's
because they're
cool.
probably yours.
No, they might have got them from the school.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
don't know.
But I
They
have them
might.
on today.
Well, good, good. And they're
Yeah,
yellow, so I know who gave them to you.
yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna end today. Thank y'all for rocking with us, and I know we get off topic, but it's always on time, right? So thank y'all for being here 7 a.m. every single morning on this 93rd installment of the In the Season podcast, where we're reading the book Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro. And so we usually end it by uh, a reading of the title, which is Why Don't We Ever Talk? A reading of the quote by the distinguished African American, who today is Ruby Dee, the famous actress, who said the divorce rate would be lower if, instead of marrying for better or worse, people married for good. And the affirmation, oh, mom, I meant to go through this and go through the mixings of the recipe. I wanted to go through that, but the show is over. We'll have to come have some reviews about some of our favorite ones, and maybe I'll say
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But I had
Let's start tomorrow off with that.
okay.
Okay.
I had way
We'll
more
give
to say on
5 minutes to this one tomorrow.
that. Okay, okay.
Okay.
But the
Thanks.
affirmation that we read 3 times: one time for the ladies, one time for the guys, and one for the people that need to hear this. Okay. I will not take my mate for granted. And for the single people, your mate is yourself, right?
Mm.
Your mate is yourself. So don't take yourself for granted. I will not take my mate for granted. Because if you ain't ready to take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else, and can't nobody take care of you. There's parts of you that only you can take care of. that only you are responsible for and only you can bring to the table. And so last time, and say it either out loud or internally, I will not take my mate for granted. I will not take my mate for granted. So thank y'all very much. We will be here tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 a.m. Central Time. And everybody get, if you want the language assessment, leave a comment, contact my mother, send her a message or a direct a DM. I promise you, whether it's for you yourself individually or you and your husband or wife, or even for your the people that you work with, this is going to change your life. All right, so y'all take care. We'll see y'all tomorrow, same time, same place.
Peace.